faceless, we were born for greatness. Somebody sound the alarm. The fire was set in the dark. It's time that you know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. It doesn't matter if the world is nomad, if we just hold on, if we just hold on, yeah. The sky is falling and the world is gone mad, and we sing our songs and we just hold on, yeah. So if you're running, stop running. One life, one chance, start living. Sing it louder just to let the world know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. They say that I'm reckless because I'm relentless. They spit on my face and curse on my name and taking my life in vengeance. Yeah, you can try and blame us and try and take what's sacred, but we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. Somebody set me alarm. The fire was set in the dark. It's time that you know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. It doesn't matter if the world is gone mad, if we just hold on, if we just hold on, yeah. The sky is falling and the world is gone mad, and we sing our songs and we just hold on, yeah. So if you're running, stop running. One life, one chance, start living. Sing it louder just to let the world know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. Somebody sound the alarm. It's time that you know. It doesn't matter if the world is gone mad, if we just hold on, if we just hold on, yeah. Sing it louder just to let the world know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness.
Wednesday winners. What's up, y'all? This was Jared's spot, but me and Kim were like, no. We got to roll tonight. I'm excited, Kim. I'm excited for what's getting ready to roll out. You know, we talk about new systems, and Kim, you find us new systems all the time. You know, and we've been doing this, me and you know, for the last over 10 years, you know, which is kind of crazy to think about. But watching Kim's such a huge, intricate part of the development of TLG and the lead systems that are brought to us, and the quality control behind them. Man, it's priceless to have a person like Naredo in your corner. It really is. So I appreciate everything that you do, Kim, with finding companies. And then even after finding companies, we develop relationships with these companies and we figure out how to get better, do better, and scale up from there. So we've been crushing it. You know, for those of you that are new to Wednesday Winners, you know, we do this every week rather than the last week. We always take the last week off just for production purposes and pushing everybody's production through the roof. But if you're brand new, y'all keep plugging in, and get the training and find out what this team's all about. Kim, we've got some new faces on here tonight that are checking TLG out. I personally invited them so they could see what kind of training we have and things that are going on. So I gave them a personal invite just to kind of check us out tonight. So I'm excited for what we're doing. Kim, I know you wanted to take over. Kim, this is your call.
Well, it's our call. However, thank you for letting me kick things off. I appreciate it and appreciate all the kudos. Yes, I am extremely passionate about our marketing here. It's kind of somehow, some way, Art just entrusted me with this when we started the company back in 2015. And you're right, Aaron. It's not just about finding a lead vendor or lead type. It's about really investing our time, energy, and efforts to making sure that whoever we're going to introduce to our agents, there's no perfect lead that exists. We know that. However, we do believe in putting in, managing our expectations and inspecting what we put out there to you guys, to make sure that we are delivering the best possible options for your future, your families, and your business. So the focus of tonight is all calls. I do have a couple things I wanted to kind of go over, especially with the new people that are on the call. And you might be new to insurance. I'm not sure. Maybe you're new to a lead-based system, which is what TLG is. And we're very upfront about the fact that we do not force agents to buy leads. However, we do encourage and let them know that, hey, we are a lead-based company. Therefore, we train our agents on how to convert leads into insurance premium. So with all calls, let's go back on a little bit of the history. So this whole thing of calling in live transfers, this has not been around. I wish we had this, Aaron. If we had live transfers when we were in the business, oh my God, like it's crazy. We would have been writing like $40,000 a week. That's how hard we went when we ran appointments. But hey, we're just cut from a different thread, I guess. But with all calls, you guys, it's one of those opportunities that kind of fell in my lap. It was a referral based on a referral. So somebody referred me to Victory Leads. Okay, I'll be transparent. It was Victory Leads, and giving us an opportunity to buy some of their old mortgage protection leads, which for some of you has worked out really well. And then that turned into, hey, I know a guy you guys might be interested since you're experienced doing live transfers. So I built a relationship, a professional relationship with the owner of Victory Leads, got to get to know him, excuse me. And then I started then branching out. And that's kind of how I found a lot of the resources that I present to you guys is, I go to people that I know, like, and trust that are in our industry, to get in front of different vendors so that we can, see if this will work out. And I want to say All Calls is probably one of our better finds, not only because of the leadership of the company. Vince, comes from our industry. He was an agency manager back in the day, and he comes from kind of doing what we do: mortgage protection, final expense, IULs. So he knows the talk, he knows the walk, and he understands what we go through as agents, what you guys go through as agents. So with that said, when you have somebody like that who is running a lead company that understands the ups and downs and the trepidations and the fears of what an agent goes through, there's definitely going to be a little bit more patience on his side. However, he is a business, he is running a business, and we have to be mindful of the fact that there's a line that cannot be crossed where we are taking advantage, or we are, really not taking advantage of the system that he's put in place, especially with all the training that's being put out there between our agents, our managers, and of course, with Vince directly, because we recently hosted a webinar with him and his team. So what happened yesterday, Aaron and I, and Aaron's got good news and stuff. I'm going to do a little bit more of like the gut punch check for you guys, because I want you to know, based on what we learned yesterday and what you're also going to hear from Lake himself, the opportunity of what we have in front of us and what you're leaving on the table, because you're allowing fear to drive whether or not you proceed with some of these all calls and converting them into actual leads. When you get into a lead-based system, I think the most important thing is that you have to understand the conversion. You need to know, if I buy 100 TLG2s, which are age mortgage protection leads that are between 30 and 90 days old, or whatever the time frame is, that if you buy 10 of those, you're not going to sell 6 out of 10. Why? Because they're aged. So you need to manage your expectations. That's probably going to be like maybe a 10 to 15% return. All right. If you're buying TLG Platinum Mortgage Protection fresh leads, typically the conversion is going to be higher. Why? Because it's a fresh lead. You're paying more for the lead. Conversion should be between 35 and 50%. We have some agents on those leads, like Van Barnett, that are constantly converting at about 75 to 80%. Why? Because his skill set has met that level that he can pretty much convert anybody he talks to. Okay. So with all calls, Why are they so special? Number one, they are focusing on a market that we need to make sure that we are constantly ahead of the curve. Why? Because it is the senior market. That's that baby boomer generation. That's the 10,000 people turning, 65 every single day between now and 2031 or whatever the date is. Okay. So it's a huge, huge audience that is underserved. And it's a huge opportunity for us to continue to have consistent sales on a weekly basis when mortgage protection starts to turn around, when rates finally start to drop, which I hope will be in the future, then yes, you can balance things out with a little bit of mortgage protection and a little bit of final expense. Aaron and I were talking about this the other day. You really want to become that hybrid agent. That hybrid agent is somebody that can easily flex between mortgage protection and final expense depending on marketing and availability. And right now, it's all about all calls. All calls, you guys, the fact that you actually can just log into a queue and wait for somebody to call you that's interested in possibly buying an insurance policy. I can't even tell you like how refreshing that can be for an agent not having to make dials. Now, do I have anything against making dials? No, because it is what we do. Okay. However, some of you may not have access to certain types of leads or don't have enough leads to make dials. So why wouldn't you jump into all calls and have the leads come to you, especially at a $50 price point? Let's talk about that. Mortgage protection leads are at an all-time high. Our agents have the benefit of working with our GMR program. And with that, there is a system that is built in so that there is a shared cost on the pricing. But mortgage protection direct mail leads are typically costing about $75 to $85, let's say $80 on average. And the care ratio or conversion ratio is typically 3 to 4 apps out of 10. Okay. So we have agents that are willingly and have been for years and years, because remember, our GMR mortgage protection leads is what got the company started. It is our core. We've been doing it for a very long time. We're coming up on 10 years? No, what we have 10 years? Yeah, 10 years now that we've been doing it. So not every loan, I'm sorry, not loan, not every sale is or lead is going to turn into a sale. And our mortgage protection flat people understand that. Just to give you an idea, I was running Angel Loyo's numbers earlier, and he's standing in at a 55% conversion on his mortgage protection plats. He received 65 leads and only wrote like 20 something applications. All right. So, was there a lot of leads that he paid for that he didn't convert? Absolutely. Did he get his return on investment? Absolutely. So, you really need to focus on the ROI, not so much am I spending $50 on a lead because, and we listened to a lot of calls yesterday with all calls. And this is not about criticism, you guys. This is about correction. We have to do a course correction with everybody that's in all calls because if we don't meet the minimum expectations for all calls that they want so that we can get results, then unfortunately they could pull some of the people off of there. And we really can't control that. All we can do is say, hey, we will work with every single person to get them to the requisite number that we need to keep this program going. Because there is no live transfer company that I'm aware of, and I could be wrong. Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no live transfer company that I've come across that gives you a 90-second pre-qualification.
No, I haven't heard that.
Okay. All right. So we got to understand what we have our hands on, how special it is, how unique it is, and what is the opportunity. Because it does come down to the cash flow and the conversion. If we didn't have real numbers to share with you guys to show you that this actually does work, but this is how you have to take the approach on these leads and your mindset, then we wouldn't be hosting this call. We would, scratch the vendor and say, look, your stuff is crap. We're not going to present this to our agents, and we move on. We find somebody else. That's not the case. Lastly, a lot of our agents who started with live transfers with the other companies, AWL being one of them, AWL has worked for a lot of agents. However, think about the the cost of that loan, or not loans. I guess it's same loan. I got loans on my mind. Of that lead program are much more than a $50 flat fee, and it's not a guaranteed rate. They have multiple. You have to bid for it. I hear some people have paid anywhere between $80 to $100 for that lead. The quality's not there. The return policy sucks. I mean, it just is what it is. It's just, again, it sounds like I'm bashing on AWL, but if you can do a compare and contrast AWL to all calls is the creme de la creme. All right. And we have to make sure we treat it that way so that it's not taken away from us or from anybody on this call. So let's go over the numbers. Oh, I didn't see we had some chats in here. Oh, never mind. That's a
Yep.
question about recruiting. Okay. Aaron, let's see. I think you have to make me a co-host.
Should be yours.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Just happens to be baseball season. Not necessarily a huge baseball fan, but why not? Let's use the analogy. All right. No one bats 1,000, right? We can all agree on that. So accept it. Accept any lead type that you ever buy. Doesn't matter what it is. You're never going to convert every single lead that you buy. It just is what it is. However, because we work in insurance and we are compensated generously for our efforts, the return on investment is really where you need to focus. The action, what do you need to do? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, sorry. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. This is from an agent from All Calls. Obviously, we can't name his name. He's from a different agency. He's not a part of TLG. I don't know who he belongs to. However, he is someone who hasn't been doing this forever, and he dropped all of his lead vendors and now does All Calls 100%. And this is what the last 30 days have been for him. I would assume this is probably what he did in the month of May. He took 320 calls. He paid for 112 leads. He wrote 44 applications, which is a 35% conversion of leads to calls taken, or applications to leads, excuse me, and a $75 average per application. Wrote $39,600 in AP, total spent $5,600. Now, some of you may be like, oh my gosh, $5,600, I don't want to spend that much. Well, this agent is full time. This is his primary source of income. He has no other job, and this is what he's doing. Okay. Doesn't mean that you have to take 320 calls, obviously, but you could tell he's on the call, he's on the phone the moment they open at 9 a.m. and takes it all the way till 8 p.m. Like he's taking every call he could possibly take in a work week. All right. So, what are the results? This is what we are missing. The result 39,600. Now, I did some simple cash flow mathematics for you guys. Okay. We know that we get, okay. So, final expense, I'm going to tell you right now, it's super conservative because 75% placement is really low. Most final expense will place at a higher rate because the underwriting is a lot easier. It's a shorter application. And a lot of our applications, when you submit it to the carrier, they're knockouts. So you know whether or not you have an application to move forward. So I'm going to go 75%. I really think probably, what would you say, Aaron? Like maybe 80, 85%?
It's most likely higher, but we're good here.
Okay, perfect. So 39.6 times 75% placement gives you 29.7. I'm going to assume he's at a 75% contract. Why? It's kind of a middle of a road contract. All right. Especially on FE. 75% advance. Now, normally I would not take out the advance because you do get paid as earned on months 10, 11, and 12. The reason I did the 75% advance is because with final expense, and I acknowledge this, I understand this, that sometimes, the persistency on these types of applications can fall because obviously budget constraints, which we will talk to you guys about how to improve that as well. So we're going to take the 75% again to take this to a level of being way more conservative. That leaves you 16,706 minus out those lead costs of 5,600. The end result is 11,106 gross after expenses. Gross means that we have not taken out your taxes. You have to do your own taxes, but it is after expenses. So your annual run rate would be about 133,000 based on this scenario. So basically, your fear of risking, or your fear of risk is costing you more than a $50 lead. I can tell you that right now. It's costing you an income of 133,000 a year after expenses, before taxes though. All right. So what is the expectations? 25%. That means 1 out of 4 calls. You got to convert that to a lead. All agents must maintain a 25% call to lead ratio in order to maintain access to the 90-second lead program, the FE program. Remember, All Calls is very unique, as I've already stated, in offering the 90-second pre-qualifying window. There's a lot of information that you guys are getting in that 90 seconds. Remove the mentality of only paying for a guaranteed sell. I think that's a lot of what people are doing and a lot of what we are hearing, and also a lot of what All Calls is hearing. They sent us a list of agents. Again, we won't name anybody. It's not about that. This is about course correction, where they listened to the entire call. They got all the information from the client. They wanted to buy insurance. They were the age. They had a checking account. They met all of the bullet points that you guys asked on your pre-qualifying script. And then at the very last minute, when they thought the client wasn't going to pull the trigger or do an application, they hung up on them. All right. That's not how you need to conduct yourselves on these calls, because we heard calls yesterday, again, nobody within TLG, where the person, she was an elderly lady, had great rapport with the agent. And me and Aaron were like, this is a guaranteed sell. And she's like, well, I want to think about it. Just send me the numbers. She gave them the spiel that we're all accustomed to hearing. Right. And the agent deflated her concerns, kept talking, and said, Mary, how long have you been shopping for insurance? And she said, so many months, so many months. So at what point in time are you going to finally decide just to take care of it? And she's like, you're right. He's like, if you want to continue to procrastinate, we can. However, you just told me you wanted to, and it was the daughter. She's like, I don't want my daughter to pay for anything. I'm worried about my daughter. And she already had insurance, you guys. That's another thing. We've heard people hanging up on clients that already had insurance. She's like, well, I have this, but it's not enough, blah, blah, blah. And I want to make sure she has more money. And before you know it, that she was filling out the application. All right. That's what we're talking about, is that you have to continue pushing the client, not pushing them to the limit of, hey, they want to hang up on you. No, and being too aggressive. Because remember, you know your audience. You're speaking to senior community. They love to build rapport. It's actually the most easy client to ever build rapport with. Why? Because seniors love to talk, right? They love to get to know you. You just have to give them a chance. There was another call we heard on the phone where the gentleman was, talking about buying insurance, and he was a little aggressive, I would say, but he definitely knew what he wanted. And there was one question this agent asked, and the question was, well, are you married? And he said, no, I'm widowed. And of course, that opened up the conversation. I'm so sorry. When did your wife die? It was like 2 years ago. And when the client said, yeah, she died 2 years ago, the agent instantly said, what kind of burial did your wife have? Was it cremate? Because the guy was shopping for cremation. Did you also cremate her? No, I did a full burial for her and I paid $12,000 out of pocket. Boom, sale was done. He's like, okay, I can get you 2,500 cremation easy. Let's go ahead and take care of this right now. And that's it. Hey, Nelson.
Hello there.
Hi. Anyway, just switch from Aaron to Nelson on my view. So anyway, so you guys, look, return on investment should always be your primary focus for any lead type that you purchase, not the fear of the cost of the lead. Because if you allow the fear of the cost of the lead to be a deterrent, then you'll never close any sales. You won't get enough in front of enough people. And you won't have the conversions that I've gone over. I'm sorry, but I don't know who wouldn't want to be on a direct live transfer lead, closing and making over $130,000 a year. And you don't have to leave your home, you're virtual, and final expense is one of the easiest types of applications and underwriting to get to know. So I would say we definitely need to improve on that, but change that mentality. Return on investment. I cannot stress it enough. So look at your contract, figure out where you are on your final expense products, and do the math yourselves, because it's definitely going to be worth the investment. There's enough opportunity with all calls that, in my opinion, any full-time agent, like if this were to be my full-time gig as an agent and I wasn't doing anything else, I would safely say that I should be able to write at least $5,000 to $10,000 a week in premium a week, because they have the volume. It's not a lack of leads or customers, right? It's just your investment. And you can start off slow, start off with a lower amount, build up your budget to a point based on where you want to have your cash flow. If you want to have a net depositable cash flow, if you want to deposit, $5,000 a month after expenses, or $10,000 a month, just depends on what your goals are and what you need to obtain, then you can figure it out and you can make it happen. And that's the unique thing about all calls, is that, we don't have that luxury with mortgage protection, because we can't dictate how much data comes in on a weekly, monthly, daily basis from new refinances and new purchases. It's really just a slingshot. Like whatever comes in, we'll mail, whatever comes back, great. With all calls, it's like just turn it on at 9 a.m. and keep it going. And then they just added in Saturday. So for all of you part-timers that are not available during the week, Saturday's your day. Jump in, be the first one to take calls at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. whenever they'll start rolling in, and maximize your opportunity because it's definitely there for you guys. And then last thing, and I'll share some good news. So we have learned from Vince that the mortgage protection leads, which we talked about at the Sales Summit, will be rolling out in July. The only reason there has been a hesitation is that's going to be on a separate billing system, and they've had some, I would say, just some hiccups with getting the credit cards, the system, whatever, accounting lined up. But other than that, they should be able to launch in July. And of course, that will be very exciting, and we'll be doing training on that as well. All right, Aaron, I'm going to turn it back over to you, I think.
No, that's amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for the MP, but man, we really have our hands on a system with final expense, and it's a simple sale, guys. These are people who most likely don't have 10, 15, $20,000 in the bank account, that if they passed away tomorrow, their family would be able to take care of that burial coverage. Guys, that's why they're answering. Now, understand we have that 90-second filter to qualify the client as much as we possibly can. You're going to get ones where it's dead air just due to the transfer, right? You're going to get people who are like, I thought this was free right off the bat. You're going to get people who are confused about the marketing and call in, but that's why we have the 90-second filter, and you can hang up on them and not pay for the lead. That's what it's there for. But what we have to get away from, and I did a deep dive into what we've been doing for the last 30 days, 6 months. There's agents who are taking 47 calls and then pick up one of them. I'm like, oh no. Like after I just listened to, some of these other agents who are picking up 1 out of 5, 1 out of 4. Heck, I think we can get to a 30%, pickup ratio. I really do. When we can't help the ones we can't help. We just can't. We can hang up on those, and that's okay. But we are missing out on serving clients. I know it's like we're looking for the safety net, and we want to ask these questions. And we've got a script, and I'll talk about that here in a second. I know we're looking for the safety net because we want to protect our investment as much as possible, but we've also got to think about the client on the other line who called in looking for, to make sure that they were taken care of. And we, at the end of the day, we're sales agents. That's what we are, right? We have to build emotion, build rapport. We have to create assumption and close out the sale. Me and Kim listened to an agent yesterday, and I'm telling you, he's half as good as you are, Lake. Swear to it. Half as good as Jared Leifert. Half as good as you, Terry. But he was just willing to take it and keep moving and pull on those strings a little bit and say, why don't we just go ahead and take care of this today?
And one thing I noticed, Aaron, I don't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to mention this earlier, is that the thing I noticed about that agent, and not that he's bad, you guys, is we could just tell he's new, he's fresh, right? Just because he didn't know how to pronounce the city that the guy, he was young. But here's the thing, what I did hear on that call was he was all heart. He immediately started to evoke the emotion with these clients. And don't forget to do that. Evoking the emotion works on any lead, any client that you're talking to, because they're not just buying the insurance for the hell of it. They're buying it because there's someone specific in their mind that they love. They want to make sure it's taken care of. The lady who wanted to make sure her daughter didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. The guy who recently lost his wife and was still emotional about the fact that he had spent $12,000 for a burial and he would never go through that again. That emotional turmoil. Okay. Insurance is always an emotional sell backed by logic. And that was the one thing I heard from this guy, as inexperienced as he was. And this is the guy who's now making $130,000 a month off of these leads. Yeah. And he's just being real. And, I think the 90-second pre-qualifier and the questions we ask are pertinent to make sure that we do talk to the people that are serious. But I think the judgment calls that some of you are making on hanging up on them has nothing to do with the fact that they met all the qualifications. It's because you just have a gut feeling either they're talking too slow or you just think that they're not going to be able to afford it. And I know we talked about the $50 budget. That has got to come out, you guys, because here's the thing. You're going to have some people that can afford lower than $50. And then you're going to have some of those big sales where you reel in $200-300 an hour, and it'll all average out to, on final expense, typically $75 to $80 is really where you should be. That's right. what this guy is doing is exactly on target for final expense. It'll average out.
I love that. So for those of you that have the old script, take it, do that. Rip that thing up, man, because we want you to eliminate what you have been doing so we can give you more more shots, more chances at being able to take your business to the next level. So it's already been replaced. I want y'all to go to the GT welcome page for new agents. The new script's located there right now. And we've also detailed how to run the appointment along with the warm down process for referrals, legacy safeguard, and continuing with additional marketing. When you guys really take this to the next level, guys, referrals cost you nothing, by the way. Like one of the biggest things I used to do in houses, Kim, is when I was running final expense, man, everybody in the house was getting coverage. Every single person that I saw was getting talked to about insurance. Every single one of them. If I showed up at a barbecue, we were having some fun that day. Right. It's just how it goes. And when you talk about someone, a lot of families, if one person doesn't have final expense coverage, I guarantee you, Joey doesn't have it either. Their nieces and nephews, they'll take care of them, their grandchildren, they'll take care of all of them, making sure that they have a $10,000 policy in place for anywhere from $7 to $10 a month. This is an easy sale.
I'm sorry, Aaron. You guys, the senior community, I'm telling you, my biggest annuity was on a final expense lead that was like a year old that I did a door knock on. Hello. So I had to work for that lead. I didn't get the final expense sale, admittedly, but I found out they had money and we ended up doing annuity. So no complaints on my end. But there are ways to keep the policies on the books. If persistency is something that you're concerned with, obviously open and active communication with your clients. Thank you cards. A thank you card goes a long way. Vince told us yesterday, and we'll get the information from you, but they have a company that does AI thank you cards that you could basically sign up for, and they'll mail all your thank you cards out for you and make it look like you filled it out yourself, which is fine, making sure that you're layering your policies. We talk about doing multiple applications on homes or on clients for mortgage protection. Why wouldn't you do it on final expense? If a client can qualify for an accidental policy under age 70, give them that extra value, add that to the policy. If they've got grandchildren, get into children's whole life policies. The more value that you add, the more likelihood that they are going to be a client for life, because they're giving you more than just their application. It's now a family thing. It's deeply rooted now, where you are their agent. And then of course, with adding in legacy safeguard, like Aaron said, referrals are free, which we love. So that's going to add value as well. And then of course, life will become a lot more simpler for you to automate all of this, especially with the integration of Life Center as well as Integrity. Not Integrity Connect, Client Connect. Client Connect will have all of the automations built in to do a lot of this, keep in contact with your clients, to keep that persistency up where it should be, so that you can eliminate that fear.
No, I love this. For those of you that haven't, you don't have access to page 2 yet. Once you guys start setting appointments, or if your growing upline recommends you to move into all calls, get access. We've got tons of training, additional training, for you guys, such as the 5 steps to placement and persistency, which keeps the business on the books. There's things that you could do. And that's what Kim's talking about, as far as, Client Connect and stuff like that. We have CRMs available. There's so many tools that you guys can use to elevate your business. But we are really excited about all calls as a complement to what you're doing. We're not saying stop what you're doing, right? Continue to work tier 1, tier 2, move up to other tier 3 leads as well, but turn this thing on. Vince was, I don't know if Chalet's on right now. Vince was fired up because Chalet was taking calls at like 10, 11 o'clock. And I was like, Vince, she wasn't up at 10 or 11. She lives in Alaska. Like she's working East Coast leads, man. It's only like 5 o'clock there. It's just how she's running her business, and she's taking calls out late, but they leave it on till 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. How cool is that? That's pretty amazing that we have a company that's going to pump this marketing, but we are missing opportunity when we're hanging up on that many. So you heard Kim say it. We're looking for that 25% mark so we can keep the 90. Y'all, we begged for the 90-second filter and they gave it to us. Some of y'all have hung up on too many and went right back to a 25-second. Y'all know who you are, right? You got to make sure that we are maintaining quality within our business, and we're partnering with All Calls. They want us to win. They want us to do big things. They want us to win so bad that they want to run a contest for us on our Blitz tomorrow. This is from Ryan specifically, Ryan and Vince. So they're running a contest. So tomorrow we're running 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on our all-day sales blitz. Ryan said he's thrilled to announce an exciting opportunity to earn a reward with All Calls. To make this possible, we need a minimum of 50 calls purchased during the call blitz event time. We hit that goal, and they're going to hold a raffle for whoever buys at least 5 calls tomorrow. That's it. So all it is, 5 calls. Each set of 5 gets you 1 entry into the raffle. The lucky winner is going to get a 20% match on their deposit up to $2,000. They're trying to give away money. They want you guys to win with them. As we continue to grow, they're going to continue to do bigger and better things for us. So that's why we're holding our sales blitz tomorrow. For those of you that are brand new, guys, we do this once a month on a Thursday. Every single mid-month, we hold our sales blitz. We've done it 3 months in a row now. First month, we had a goal of 30,000. We crushed 38,000 in one day. We've got a goal of 40,000 this month. Let's shoot for it. Y'all plug into All Calls, get with your growing upline, and make this happen for yourself. Make it happen for your business. And we're going to have a good time tomorrow. So that being said, Lake, where you at, son? Where's my boy, Lake Savage?
What's
Lake,
up, Aaron?
Like, we've made a lot of changes, and you did an impromptu training for the team, last week. And, I know we've made some changes as far as, asking for the $50. We've kind of eliminated that. And I think we've really honed on into a really great script and moving people. But I think one thing you changed, I kept putting challenges out there to the team. It's like, hey, listen, man, don't hang up on everybody. Just talk to them and get them moving. And you really listened to that. You took that challenge and talk to the team about what that's done for your, how many takes, the different AP that you've written, what that's doing for your business by taking chances on cognitive people.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Lake Savage Bellavance, direct to Nelson Alvarez, direct to Aaron, direct to Art. So as far as, in the beginning, we were just testing this thing out. And so I was hanging up a lot. And then you brought up the fact that these are old people. Everybody needs coverage. Doesn't matter who they are. And like Kim says, you're not going to bat. No one bats 1,000. No one's a perfect bat. So I started taking more chances on people who are past age 80, because if they're healthy, we can help them. The only time we can't help an 80-year-old is that if they're on oxygen or they have congestive heart failure, something that would make them go graded coverage. And for you newbies, your upline will explain that to you. But, for those people, I helped 2 or 3 82-year-olds last month. They're all 82, 84 years old. I could have hung up on them and no one would have been the wiser. But I took a chance because they were competent. They were confident. They had clear conversation with me and they were healthy. The other thing is, it's like if people call in and they say, hey, listen, is this about insurance? I don't already have insurance. I don't need this, because sometimes they think it's free. Most of you would hang up and put, hey, they thought this was free. I'm going to put that as the disposition. Well, you just missed out on an opportunity on someone who already believes in insurance. They already believe in insurance. And guess what? We have the best carriers you can get with final expense. The best. There's I can't tell you how many policies I've written of final expense, and barely any of them get rewritten by other agents because A, they like me, right? I'm likable. And I do my follow-up and persistency, but B, we have the best pricing. And so I'm going to take a stab at that. I'm going to make sure that they're in the best position possible. And guess what, Aaron? You can listen to it. A lady named Michelle, she said, I don't need insurance. I already have it. Sold her a policy. We beat her policy by like $30 a month or something, because these seniors don't understand that they'll get postcards, inundated with postcards in the mail that say, hey, you can get coverage, and it's graded. It's a 2-year waiting period. They're perfectly healthy. They have no idea. It's just easy for them to sign and send it away. So yeah, I'm taking about 1 in 4, 1 in 5 calls on average Guys, that's the average. Sometimes you're going to have streaks of like 7 or 8 people without a bank account. We're working on it, but we can't really help people without a bank account. That's a really tough thing to do, right? We do have some carriers that'll take debit cards, but the persistency is really low on that as far as I know. So we're not taking those. We can't help people. We can't help people over 80 or in nursing homes, right? Those are reasonable. Sometimes you're going to get 7 in a row like that. That's not a big deal. But guess what? Your next one's going to be a call. And guess what? After that, maybe your next one's going to be a call you take as well. It's going to average out to 4 or 5 if you're taking on that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for now.
I think that's important. Make sure it's a viable hang up. You know,
Mhm.
I went and I listened to the team yesterday. I just started going through calls. Y'all know me. I'm OCD as heck. I can't help it. I think it's my superpower, but I just went in and just started listening to everybody's calls for hours. Just, I don't know. I just started listening. And a lot of y'all, I swear, we're hanging up on fear.
Mhm.
Just hanging up straight out of fear rather than taking the chance and just talking to someone. Maybe you messed up a little bit and your intro wasn't that great. Maybe there was a little pause, you know, when they came back to you. It could just be a delay in the conversation. Guys, we're talking through internet, you know, so don't hang up. If you feel good about the client, once you hit that 90-second, now here's what I want to, don't go through that, get that 90-second and start into an immediate transactional conversation.
Mm.
That's where I heard a couple of you went right. And I called a couple of you right after. I was like, what the heck was this? I was like, I got to call this. I was like, no, we can't do that. Guys, we're in sales. We've got to continue with the sales process of continue to build rapport, pull massive emotion out of our clients, right? And then we got to educate our clients on what they're doing. And then we assume the sale with a 3-tier close. That's it, guys. We're doing the same thing, you know, that we teach you to do with mortgage protection. So this is not a transactional sale at all. This is still an emotional sale, and we have to keep it that way. So take more and run the sales process. Be the sales agent, be the servant for your clients that you're talking to, and go protect and serve. Go be that agent for their family. And I promise you, you'll create a client for life when you eliminate that burden for their family. That's what it's all. Yes.
Let's talk about the follow-up. Lake, didn't you have a follow-up? I think a lot of agents are trying to do the one call close.
Rather than a set.
Yes, rather than a set.
Absolutely. So what I've learned from these calls is that I'm going to think about it, or I want to talk to my wife, right? It's just natural. These people are calling in, they're thinking ahead, they're thinking for their spouse. And so no matter who it is, I'm always going for a one call close, but that doesn't mean it's always going to happen. Sometimes if they need to talk to a wife, I'll try to work with who I've got on the phone, try to get them committed. But if I can't do it, I'm going to follow up with them. Okay. Sometimes I can't get the one call close on single people or widows. I can't do it. Right. But I'm going to try it 3 or 4 times. I'm going to try my best, and then I'm going to follow up with them. I had a lady who was just a little bit confused about it. And guess what Nelson says all the time? A confused mind says no. She kept saying, no, no, no. You know, I still owe America a payment. I still owe America a payment. And no matter what I was saying, she wasn't getting it. And so I said, okay, well, why don't we do this? We've been on here for about 45 minutes. Why don't you take the time to find your Americo policy, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. What time are you typically home? Do you have any doctor's appointment? I schedule investigate. Okay. So I made sure I set a solid time with her, ended up calling her. She ended up no showing me. All right. Old people are going to forget. It happens. But I called her this evening. We were supposed to meet at like 9:30 this morning. I called her this evening again. I caught her. I said, hey, Lori, hey, this is Lake. How are you? She's like, oh, Lake, how are you? And I was like, hey, we didn't get a chance to connect this morning. I didn't make her embarrassed saying, well, you missed your appointment. Where were you? I said, we didn't get a chance to connect this morning. You remember? And she's like, oh, yeah. Okay. I said, do you have a little bit of time right now? Yeah, let's finish up right now, is what she said. She had her Americo policy. I was able to get this. She had 2 policies, one through Foresters and one through America, for $141 a month for $40,000 in coverage. I wrote her an IULE for $62,000 in coverage. Healthy 63-year-old female. No one else gave her a shot, and that was 1692 AP, almost 1700 AP.
That's phenomenal. Like we
Mhm.
are bound to final expense. Obviously, we want to, take care of the principal need, but when you find someone you're competing, this is what Kim was talking about. Oh, people were hanging up on people who had insurance. Okay, let's do a policy review. Number one, they're a buyer. Number one, they had insurance and they called in for additional,
Yes.
Mhm.
right? So now we can investigate their health, and if they're looking for another 10,000, awesome. Let me show you 25 for lower cost than what you're paying on the 10, because you
Mm.
qualify for it.
Yeah. You
Guys,
know, it's funny because one of my biggest sales ever is the people who believe in insurance so much they have so many different policies. I've written, I think 14,000 in one household because I got there, they had 40,000 or 80,000 in multiple final expense policies. So 20,000, 20,000 final expense policies from the same agent. I don't know if this agent didn't know what he was doing, but I went into the household and I gave them a Forrester's SUL for 160,000 for less than what they were paying for the for the 4 policies a piece. They had 8 policies between them. And that's just because I cared enough to show them that. And these people are seniors, they're lonely, they love to talk. They feel left out sometimes, guys. Their kids and grandkids are all busy with their own lives. And you know what? Be that someone for them. And I have this huge belief that if you take enough time to serve someone, your own cup will be filled. So it's never how much can I sell this person? That's not my thought. I don't have commission breath. Is how can I serve her today, make her feel good about solving her problem? And guys, my cup is overflown from that.
And y'all have to remember, a lot of times, if you get that off, if a client, especially a senior client, immediately says, "Hey, I already have insurance, so I'm not looking to buy anything else," that's a defense mechanism. It's just basically saying, "Look, I've been swindled, right? Or I get a lot of scam calls. Like I'm just putting it out there. You're not going to take advantage of me." That's what I take it as, But again, it's all about building that rapport, building that trust. People buy from people they know, like, and trust, and then asking those qualifying questions. Tell me about your insurance, Mary. Clearly there was a reason why you took the call today. So what's going on? Are you looking to complement or enhance what you already have? When's the last time you did an annual review? I can't tell you how many annual reviews I actually was able to do or actually get policies from annual reviews that were never done. And I hate to say it, but that's probably one of the biggest faults that we have as insurance agents, is that we don't actually do our own annual reviews. So take advantage of, unfortunately, of that bad habit that we have, and get in front of these clients. Like Lake said, review those policies. You're not going to always replace it, but it's better for you to try to see if you could do something better, put them in a better position than you found them, right? And make that sale. And if it takes 2 or 3 phone calls to get it done, clearly it's going to pay off. Just with what Lake said, in protecting that client with a smart UL. So it's definitely worth the investment. And, it's funny when we're talking about these all calls and the follow up, that so many of you invest into other lead types, more specifically mortgage protection. And yet you'll follow up with those clients for months and months and months and months and months. Yet we're willing to hang up on a client because they won't make a split decision in 90 seconds.
Woo, get him, Kim.
Who does that? Right? So ask you guys have what I would consider to be like the knockout questions, right? Checking account, age, stuff like that. Attitude, right? I don't expect anybody to stay on a phone call with somebody that's just being rude and yelling at you, like, okay, bye, next. But when you've got a qualified client that meets those minimum parameters, then you need to switch it over to, I'm here to serve this client, whether it's going to be at the end of this call or tonight or tomorrow or next week. I'm going to continue to pursue this so that I get them the coverage that they want. And then also think about this, guys. If you start getting into the Legacy Safeguard program and start building your referrals off of that, or the ERS, however you're building your referrals, before you know it, you will literally eliminate all of your lead expenses, and your return on investment will go even higher. Why? Because those are free leads. If you start to pair the applications and you're not just doing a final expense, and you maximize the opportunity to add in that accidental policy when you can, to add in that grandchildren rider when you can, do what Lake did and review policies and come out with an IUL, you'll get to the point where your costs of doing business will be so, it won't even be a thought for you anymore. It will just be, how many more people can I help? How many more families can I serve? Which will then, of course, pay you back in the long run with generous commissions.
For sure. So all calls, guys, we're looking for at least 5 applications weekly, 10 calls a day, 50 a week. Take 12 of those, 50 a week at 25% takes. Obtain at least 15 non-resident license. We talked events, and he said his average wait time yesterday. He read it to us in real time. He said, all right, right now, throughout the whole company, the average wait time is 3 minutes. Through the whole company, 3 minutes per transfer. And he put that out there, but we understand it, guys. If you have one license, your resident license, like, you're not going to get many coming in, very fast. We recommend you get at least 15 states, and you'll start to see them coming in every 3 to 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. The more states you have, the faster they roll. If you're doing that, and we're talking, $600 spent on leads is going to equal 6,000 annual premium. Start where you are, but get your deposits to a minimum of 500 weekly. The magic move is, if you're starting with 100, we've got, as a company, a 50% close ratio on these leads. That's what we're looking at, to ensure a sale or a set and reinvest all of your first sale coming right back into it. That's called scale. 10 qualified takes will net you 5 applications. If you need to sort through 15 to 20 transfers to get your 2 to 3 a day, that's what we do. You just take them and move through them, and maintain that credibility of the system. 3 to 5 apps should result in 3 to 5 referrals as well, using legacy, Safeguard, and ERS systems. Use the systems in every single appointment, team. That's what it's all about. So I hope we fired you up. If you don't have an invite to all calls, get with your upline. Let them know, hey, I want to learn this. I want to do this. I want to start this. I want to turn on my transfers. Leave them on all day. That's what this is for you guys to plug into while you're working, while you're doing admin. And you can shut it off, shut it on at any time. It's a beautiful system. We don't have I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing what this system can do for you. And, to have the opportunity next month, be able to add in our bread and butter, which is mortgage protection, into this, boom, we about to blow up, Kim. So what is it, 8:52? Do we want to take a few questions? Let's roll.
Absolutely.
All right. Anybody got questions?
Yes, I do.
I don't know who that was.
I don't either. Somebody.
Well,
Y'all,
I'll make a comment. I was just sitting here thinking about how Kimberly Noretto constantly innovates, brings us something new. I want to address all the complainers out there. I want to address all the people that are saying, well, this might be difficult. I don't know how to do this. I want to remind you, a couple, 3 months ago, when you were the guy that was saying, why do I have to work with these age leads? What do I have to do to get to the tier 3 leads? You were complaining that you want the fresher leads. Well, Kimberly Noretto just went out and got it for you. So now there is a different hurdle for you to overcome. But I want you to recognize, one, to move to the old tier 3 leads, you have to skill up. That might have taken some time. This allows you to skill up quickly. I learned early on from Kim and Aaron that the average agent does about $50,000 in income because he spends 80% of his time prospecting and 20% of his time with the client. Hey, they got rid of all the prospecting. They
Zero
quality time with your client. So if you skill up quickly, you're going to get the effects you're looking for. It's going to reduce the risk of loss while you're skilling up. It's going to reduce the number of hours you're working. Who here is tired of working 2, 3, 5 hours a day just to book one appointment when you could have 10 in an hour? And finally, you're increasing your profits immensely, not in a week, but in a day. I don't know. This is like, you hit a home run, Kimberly and Aaron. I appreciate you For all the complainers out there that said, when can I get the newer leads? Bam, there you go. She just delivered it to your door.
Fresh leads in your face. Quit complaining, start running. Gabby.
Thank you. So I actually have a question for Kim. So in regards to and I know that several do too, as well. So in regards to the thank you cards, would you actually pair, like fishing for referrals and like give them your contact information just as a reminder, especially with the elderly, after you get a sale from them? Does that make sense?
Yes, so I see Diane Crump's on. Diane Crump actually is very good at the ERS system, which is the emergency response system. We actually did a training on it last week. I think you were on it, right, Gabby? I thought maybe I saw you on there.
Yeah.
I would use the methods that Diane Crump was offering up using the digital business card, whether it's Hi Hello or something else that you're using, or maybe just traditional email marketing. That's always a great way to reach out to clients. Drip marketing, whatever you guys want to do. But yeah, I would say ERS. When you do the thank you, I would, we could certainly come up with a message. If I were to write a thank you card, it probably, you don't want to be too cheesy. You don't want to be too obvious that you're asking for business. I would personally do a follow-up phone call to a client if I'm going to get into a referral and say, hey, Miss Smith, I just saw that your policy was mailed out. Want to make sure you got it. And then kind of go into like the ERS script, is there anyone in your family that Diane, let me bring you on because there was something you say that's so good on the ERS to get them to give you referrals. Let's use what you're saying.
Those are Nelson's words, Kim.
Oh well, I don't know who you took it from. Whoever said it.
I just follow my upline.
Well, whoever
Nelson,
wants
go
to say
ahead.
what they're doing.
Can you do that, Nelson?
No, go ahead, Diane. Just run it. Your show now.
I'm trying. You kind of threw me off. So when we talk to them and we want to let them know that as their agent, we want to make sure that that $8 billion that's out there that never gets claimed because people don't know about it, that type of thing. So we want to know 5 of their closest friends and family so that we can reach out to them, get them our contact information so that if anything were to happen to you, they know who to call to let know that that's going on. And then we have their beneficiaries. We're going to reach out to them, make sure that we get that taken care of. Now, does your agent do that for you? Do they have that set up for you? No, they don't have the ERS system for you. So if something were to happen to you, how would your family reach out to your agent? If you want to, if you want to give me that information, give me your agent's name, I'd be happy to let them know that. Would you like me to do that for you? Because I want to make sure that you're taken care of. And they're going to say, well, geez, my agent never even mentioned it. Maybe we should talk to you. Oh, okay. Well, I'd be happy to help you. If you want to get a review of what you have, I'd be happy to look at that. And we could definitely be there to help you too.
For sure.
So
So we've
book a
got
meeting
this,
from a meeting.
we've got this training by Diane that she did last week. It's already up on page 2. Y'all can go there. The whole call's up.
Oh.
Got the 5
We were wondering where you put it because we couldn't find it.
It's there. So the whole call's already up. Y'all can go back and train. That's what it's for. Go back and spend time in your education. We've got the 5 steps to placement persistency. We used to do it old school, Kim, and actually do Vistaprint postcards, right? Like where we hand wrote these things out, we mailed it off to our clients. Guys, we had to work,
I'm all
man.
about a handwritten thank you. I would do that.
This was like, y'all know they've got AI now that writes it and it makes it look
And
like
mailed it.
writing
Yeah.
and it mails it for you. I was like, that's dope. We should get that.
Yeah, we will.
So just like a couple bucks.
You know how they say you guys stories sell, right? You guys want to know the original story of the ARS program? Like the agent that started it all, the whole concept. It's a real story.
Yes.
Aaron knows who it is. I won't say his full name, but it was Andrew T. And Aaron will know who I'm talking about. So back in the day when we did our annual reviews and our, we were full on in the field. This agent went and did a drive-by on an annual review to follow up with a client. He was in the neighborhood. When he showed up to the house, it was abandoned. It looked like it was foreclosed, and he was shocked. He's like, okay, I don't know where my clients are. He knocked on the neighbor's door to find out that the husband, it was a family, 3 kids, the whole thing, had died. And the wife lost the house. Okay. Why did she lose the house? The husband bought the insurance policy, for whatever reason, did not tell the wife that he had this insurance policy that our agent wrote back in the day. And the agent said he had life insurance. I'm his insurance agent. And the neighbor said, I have her phone number. She's at this shelter with her kids, because she lost everything. And he went and found her and was like, Miss So-and-so, I'm your husband. I was your husband's insurance agent. He's got a $200,000 life insurance policy. I'm going to get you the check. Like, I just need you to fill out some paperwork and I'm going to take care of it. That was the launch of the ERS system, you guys, so that we make sure that that never, ever happens again.
Yeah, y'all talk about these tactics, man. And we learned these tactics so long ago. Like we did. Like we're just trading it down to you guys. Like, learn it. Like, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Y'all go put this stuff into practice, and don't just be the one-stop shop where you guys are just taking that principal application. Go for the ERS, go for additional referrals, ask for them, be vocal, be your client's insurance agent, the family agent. Man, that was my word all the time. I'm your family's agent. Oh, you are? Well, I know Joey needs some coverage. Here's his number. Right.
Yeah.
And Joey's like, hey, wait a second. Tina and Tom need some coverage. Here's their numbers. And we would build depth through ERS. 10 names, 10 names, 10 names, 10 names, 10 names. Guys, run it. They're free. Adrian, I saw your hand up. And she disappeared like ghost.
Hey, we have a question from
I'm
Nicole.
here, Aaron. I'm here. It is not really a question. I just want to, well, it is kind of, but it's for the newcomers, the new agents. Like, it's being recorded. Can you, because everybody talks so fast, and that's fine. That's fine.
This is recorded, Adrian. Yes.
Okay. So where could the new agents find it?
I've got 2 recordings up in step 1 of the new agent welcome page. This one's going to as well.
Okay.
Printable script of the 90 seconds, and then how to run the appointment afterwards. It's going to walk you through it. It is so detailed.
Okay.
Everything, it's so detailed. Y'all just learn it, and let's go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Y'all
So we
ready?
have a question from Nicole in the chat. I'm just going to read it out so we can make sure we get that answered. If she turns status to active and miss a call, you will be billed $5. Missed call fee, yes. Will it only do singular calls at a time, or will I be billed for each call received when I'm on the phone? So I don't think they do that, right?
It's singular. So it
Singular.
shuts you off. So as soon as you're on a call, and this was a question yesterday for bilingual Nelson, if you can turn Spanish and regular on at the same time, if you get one in Spanish, it'll just read it across and no other calls will come in. So as soon as you hang up, then you're back on cue. So make sure that you guys are paying attention to when you have it on and toggled on and off, so you don't miss those calls. It is, there was live transfer companies, when we missed a call, they were charging us $70 on a missed call.
Ridiculous.
I think we're okay for $5. But come on now, it's too easy to just go off and on. Like the user system we had with the other company, it was like trying to fly a jet, man. We didn't know what was going on with this thing. We couldn't find the numbers. Like, we didn't know what to do. It's like, what does this thing actually do? Like, this is an app on your phone. You press on, off, right? Like,
And
it's too easy.
You can use the mobile app too.
Right. That's
So
what I'm saying.
you could be in the kitchen doing dishes, waiting for calls to come in.
Then Vince has made it really, really simple for agents to achieve and receive high quality leads. That's what this is all about. So see it as such, see it as opportunity, and let's seize opportunity. Y'all, we're going to meet tomorrow. Y'all come in and give it 4 to 6 hours. Everything that you one call close tomorrow or same day set sale tomorrow is double issue paid towards your promotions. You know, I was talking to a group this morning. You go out and you knock down 5,000 tomorrow when an issue pays, 10,000, boom, month one, knocked out. Let's go. You can do it in one day. That's what it's all about. And that's the opportunity we're giving you. So let's run, let's hustle, let's get after it. I love that y'all showed up for this. It will be posted, Adrian. Y'all can listen to it over. I know I talk fast. I get it. I know. But y'all can listen to it over and over again. But let's go overachieve and go after it. I will see y'all tomorrow. Nelson, you got me in the morning. Tomorrow, Mason's graduating.
I've got you all day. And yes, guys, I've been trained by Aaron Goodman, and I'm actually his translator because he talks that fast all the time. For those of you that are brand new, just to remind you,
Okay.
every 2 months, you can give yourself a raise. All you have to do is hit your issue paid numbers. But tomorrow, just tomorrow, if you participate in the all-day blitz, Aaron Goodman is generously going to double the value of your sales and count that towards your promotion. Why would you not work tomorrow? Tomorrow's the day. I'm covering for my best friend and partner. I'm going to be there all day with you, getting it in with my all calls on with you. I hope to see you all. Aaron, back to you.
Oh, man. Let's close this out. Kim, I appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Later, y'all.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Everyone.